Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of CookieCast. Today on CookieCast, it's the Darkest Timeline podcast. So it's just me today. No guests. No, sorry. There'll be games, movies, and TV if that's something that's been happening in this last week, and there'll be stuff from the last week. Who knows what it might be? Could be interesting. You never know. If you're checking us out on YouTube, that's cool. Thank you for that. Just subscribe while you're there. That helps the channel out and makes you a good person. So, you know. So here we go. This is CookieCast, the Darkest Timeline podcast. Righty, tighty, lefty, loosey. Hello. It is 10:10. Monday night, so at least we're on the right day, at least. This is not the time I would want to be doing a podcast. It is hot as balls, and I just shut the window. And the reason for that is I don't want to disturb the daughter who is quote unquote sleeping in the garden. I was just about to try and tell you what temperature it is. Allegedly 17 degrees. Oh, and apparently it's going to rain. Interesting. That'll make sleeping outside interesting. Hello. Hi, my name is Baymax, your personal healthcare assistant. Started watching that with the baby. Seem to enjoy it, which is good. We finished Wally, which is one of those things. I was going on about how I haven't watched any films, and then I'm like, I watch loads of stuff with the baby. Now and then, anyway. Absolutely drinking a coffee. Still 10:10 at night. Feels like a deep breath kind of time. Some things on my list might explain that deep sigh. Some might say. Let's call it a sigh. So you know how we like to talk about the prophet that is William of Burlington, Uncle Billy, or as you guys know him, Bill Burr. I listened to, I think it was a Bill Burr podcast a little while ago, and it tied into a Bill Burr podcast where Bill was sort of saying that he has discovered the secret to life, and that secret is that men, fathers, husbands, all variety of male, don't matter. And I was a bit like, oof, I don't know about this. And it was like, you know, think about when your family contact you. How's the wife? How's the kids? And that's where the conversation ends. The line of questioning ends. And I was like, yeah, it's always like, how's the other person doing? And, you know, how are the children doing, and what are they up to, and, you know, all that. There's never another question, is there? There's never, you know, how are you doing, what are you up to? And I mean, he sort of goes on, there's a lot about, as a father, as long as you don't expect to be, you expect anyone to care, as a husband, or a partner, or that sort of side of things, as long as you don't expect the other side to care. And I'm sure at this point in time you are feeling like I was feeling. Well, this is incredibly depressing. I don't believe that this is true. I don't believe in this theory. I don't agree. It's all nonsense, and it's very sad. However, and here's the twist. He's right. But in a lot of ways, that knowledge, the knowledge that what he has said is 100% true, is quite freeing. And that's the angle that he's taken, that's the direction he's come from towards it. You don't expect people to care about what you as a person, what you're up to, what you're doing, any of that. Chances are they won't even ask you about it. That's absolutely nailed on. That's bang on. And me being me, I immediately go to, and that's why the real pandemic in our country is the horrifically high rate of male suicides. Immediately go to. And there are these aspects. I was watching Ball Hog for the 90th time, and there's an aspect in that where it's there are only two acceptable answers to how are you doing. Fine and okay. And if you're not fine, if you're not doing okay, you say that you're doing fine, because anything outside of that is a burden on the other person, and nobody gives a shit. And again, incredibly depressing concept. Something that I've actually battled with, because people used to say to me, "How are you doing?" and I'd answer it. I'd tell them, "Oh, I'm not doing great," or "Yeah, I'm all right, but there's this," or, and the realization of hearing, yes, admittedly, stand-up comedians saying it, trying to get a laugh, but it's funny because it's true. The old statement, it's funny because it's true. So that went down the wrong way. So listening to somebody say, just bear in mind that people aren't going to care, nobody's going to care, your family and your loved ones aren't going to care, initially started out as something that was like incredibly depressing. But the realization further along was that it was depressing because it's true. But then this, I suppose, Zen-like sort of thing, where when you accept it, when you're like, yeah, actually that is true. Yeah, you're true. That's true. You are correct. You accept that. It's like you can move on, and this is not me. This is not a realization of mine. He's, Bill Burr says this is, and it's only me realizing that what he was saying was correct that has sort of allowed the same breakthrough in some ways. Like, I'm always waiting for someone to care, waiting for someone to ask me how I'm doing and genuinely mean it and all this, and the realization that that doesn't exist, it's not real and it doesn't happen. It's like, I can kind of move on, I can kind of go about my day. You're like waiting for something that's never going to come. Then it's kind of freeing. And there's been all of these various things recently where I've been like, I'm gonna send this person a message. So, if it was the other way around, would they send me a message? Probably not. So I'm not going to bother, which has saved me the time and the effort and allowed me to move on to doing something else. It's like adding a level of productivity to your life. And, chasing people for things, are we going to do this, are we going to do that, are we going to do the other? Just not. And yeah, it's made for a lot less interaction with other people, but weirdly my life feels fuller. It feels now like I don't have the time. Ultimately there was this big vortex of time where I was spending my time going, I haven't got the time. I have not got the time. While sitting for X number of hours a day playing computer games, sitting on my phone, sitting at the computer, a lot of sitting involved. Now I'm recording a podcast at 20 past 10 at night. I need to go to bed in 1 hour and 40 minutes and I've still got shit to do. At this point in time I have to sort of resign myself to, I am probably not going to be playing computer games today. Them's the breaks, kids. You got to sacrifice these things and for the pursuit of greatness. So I'm sure there's a point where you've listened to this and gone, this is incredibly depressing, or it's not true, or it's not correct, or how melancholy, or any of that. But the weirdest thing to come out of it is my life feels fuller. There are people that I would have chased to the ends of the earth for things. I'll just send so-and-so a message, just see how they're doing. Don't bother now. And now, don't have the time. I completely forgot that I was going to send that person a message. That sort of thing. Which again, I'm sure that sounds quite bad. But ultimately, not having the time for things has been two different things. Not having the time whilst simultaneously knowing absolutely do have the time but don't have the inclination, while switching to I actually don't have the time, is a big difference. And it's made a big difference just on outlook. So yeah, it's interesting. We need to talk about the heat. There have been a couple of people in my life who've spoken about summer and how nice it is, and I'm like, I spent a long time, and I mean a long time, hating every single minute of summer. From a very young age to a very old age, I hated every minute. And then I reached an age where I had sort of the joys of summer highlighted to me. And it's like, you've probably got a point there, that kind of thing. So for a while, for a fair while, I did have that. Yeah, summer's got some nice aspects. You can go to the beach and you can, water fights with the kids, and you can put a pair of shorts on and you can just wear a t-shirt, and I have like everybody, I have summer mode and autumn mode and winter mode and stuff like that. So having actual summer mode and shorts and wearing some sliders right now. Got my socks off immediately. I I had it highlighted to me, the joys of summer. However, I think there's that part of me, there's the core, the chewy centre, that just hates summer. And it's always come down to the same thing. Let's do summer versus winter. Here we go. In summer, no, let's do it the other way around. In winter, if you are cold, put a jumper on. If you are still cold, put another jumper on. Let's face it, after a while of putting jumpers on, you're going to get to a point where you're warm. Put another pair of socks on. Make sure you've got a pair of slippers on. Couple of jumpers, nobody's going to frown at a couple of jumpers. Layers. Put a few layers on. If in summer you are warm, you can do nothing about it. And there, ladies and gentlemen, lies the problem. We've had some hot as freaking balls days, and those days admittedly have been wrapped in cold days either side. So, not cold but not warm. So those were kind of bearable. 31 degrees, 32 degrees. But it's 20 the day before and it's 21 the day after. Perfect. However, we have now reached what some might consider to be the apex of summer, where it's hot as balls every day. You can't sleep because it's too warm. You can't do anything because it's too warm. It's too warm because it's too warm. Constant. I honestly believed that today was the day I was going to leave the laptop, and then I just couldn't do it. So, you drink a gallon of water and at the end of the day you go, oh, I feel so dehydrated. And there was these people that were like, summer's so nice because I feel cold all the time. Okay, well, admittedly that must suck. There are certain points in winter where I reach a fuck, I'm cold. There's a couple of days. The rest of the time I'm pretty sure I can survive. Like this year, I'm actually looking forward to it because I got a jumper for my birthday. And it's a jumper that I really wanted. And I'm like, any day now. So, it has been hot. And it's been horrible. Unbearable heat. And I just can't get my head round the concept of people that enjoy it being too hot. That's what it is. Ultimately, it's too hot. It's just horrible. I had a thing pop up on Facebook reminded me it's actually 10 years since I went to Vegas, and that was like, yeah, it was 40 degrees, but it was nice 40 degrees. There was something about the temperature there that it was like, yeah, I can deal with this all day. You want 40 degrees? Turn it up, baby. Keep turning it up. I'm fine. It's just here. It's unbearable. I love a sunny day. As long as there's a nice breeze. Outside of that, keep it. Honestly, keep it. I just want to be able to, get a decent night's sleep and not get out of the shower sweating. That is a very strange concept. I know what you're thinking. Maybe you should lose some weight, you fat fuck. And you'd be right. But hey. possibly a weird thing to talk about. But it's come up in the last week, and I wrote it down, and there must be a reason why I wrote it down. So we're going to talk about it, whether you like it or not. Saw a post that said that they're going to film John Wick 4 and John Wick 5 back to back. And my response to that was, alright, I kind of wish they hadn't have done 2 and 3. I loved John Wick. I really enjoyed that film. It was great. Anybody that knows me knows I love a revenge story. Love it. And I felt that that film had been done in an amazing way, and it was top notch. The second one I did not enjoy the first time I saw it. But that to me straight away says a lot. You know, when you watch it again and you go, oh, actually it wasn't that bad. Is that what we're aiming for with our movies? Or it wasn't as bad as the first time I saw it? I don't know. The third one I felt was an improvement on the second. However, I felt that the fight scenes were really slowed down, and it was really noticeable. It's things like when there was one of the guys from the raid was in it. I was like, oh yeah, now we're talking. He's in it, it's going to be a fight, cool. And that's what happened. He was in it, there was a fight, and it wasn't cool. It was slow, it was clumsy, it, to me, just demonstrated Keanu's age. And I wouldn't especially class him as old, but I don't think he's likewise considered a spring chicken. And it just felt like very much of a situation where they'd gone, oh, you know, for whatever reason, something can't keep up. Whether that's Keanu, I'm not saying that it is. I'm just saying there's a possibility that that might have been it. Oh well, just slow it down, just take it down a notch, take it down one step. But what they should have been doing was taking it down a step to build it back up. And I can only presume that they couldn't achieve that, so ultimately have just gone, people won't notice, they're just watching, you know, the flashy moves, they're not noticing how slow it is. That and the scraping glass thing. I'm sure I reviewed John Wick 3, and I'm sure at the time I said that this scraping glass thing was used way too much. The other issue I had with that film was he spent like 5 minutes building that gun in that shop to fire one bullet. I mean, I said that to Leanne, she was like, it just shows his versatility. Like, put an extra couple of bullets in the gun. Take it with you. Put a bit of effort into making it. Whatever. So all I can sort of see and think when it's announced, oh, 4 and 5, back to back, gonna film them back to back, I'm like, I don't think that sounds like a good idea. To me that sounds like a bad thing. You know, when you're being told something, it's like, no, I have the opposite reaction to the way you think I should feel. So yeah, that's my feeling on the announcement of John Wick 4 and 5 being filmed back to back. Deal with it. Went out today, went for a day out, and by a day out I mean we went at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon and we were home by 4:30. That might be exaggerated. That might not be exaggerated. Was that really the case? Interesting. Went to the Yorkshire Museum of Farming, I believe it's called. It's got another name, it's like Merton something or other. Few things. Not actually a bad afternoon out. Perfectly acceptable, enjoyable for all the family. The middle daughter loves a tractor, and they had tractors. My eldest, do you know something? I have certain opinions. This is not the platform to share them. I assure you that much. But I get this real sense of achievement when I listen to my eldest talking about women's roles in history. I really enjoy the passion that my eldest daughter, and I imagine my other daughters will grow to have, this passion for women in history. You know, we were talking about like in the Second World War, First World War, I'm sure. Men went off to fight the war, so women were left at home to do all the jobs. Speak of the devil. So they were left at home to do all the jobs, and I was like, the strange sorts of things around the people, the men that went off to war to fight the oppressors and things like that. They went off to fight with munitions that were made by women. Women worked in the munitions factories. They made the munitions that were used to fight the Germans for the Second World War. Let's go with. They farmed. They produced the food that people were eating. All of that sort of stuff. And I love the fact that, like I say, especially my eldest, and what I presume my other daughters will grow into, that passion for women's roles in history. Love it. I love to hear her talking about it, because you can, that genuine passion. So we were reading about like history. It's farming, so there's that, but there's more to it than that. They had a little village that was supposed to be like the first sort of settlement when humans went from not living outside to living in actual constructed abodes. They had some animals. They had a Roman village that had been constructed. That was cool. What was it? The Colostrum was like a barracks, but it could have 80 men in, which gave, they were small quarters, lots of people, which gave way to the word claustrophobic. I learnt that today. I was like, that's cool. We came out there. The thing that I really enjoyed the most about the place was they had a full sort of construction of a Viking village. And I was like, somebody's had to build all of this, or people have had to build all of these. They had the mud for the walls and stuff. Amazing craftsmanship. Somebody's obviously put it all together, whether it's been done over time or what. We came out of that to another animal area, and a multitude of different hens from what seemed to be all over the world, and some of them were really interesting, like strange ducks and interesting looking rabbits and things. They had a play area. I find play areas to be a little bit of a with the virus, the pandemic, all of that, a bit wary of play areas. And I want them to go and play and enjoy But I also don't want anybody to be catching anything, and play areas are in that you enter at your own risk. And there were rules, and we abided by those rules, and there was hand sanitizers, which we used extensively. There was loads of barns filled with tractors, had a gift shop, had a cafe, stuff like that. All in all, reasonably priced, reasonable day out. Kind of glad that we just went for the afternoon, because not somewhere you would easily be able to do for a day, I don't think. Very much just go for the afternoon, go for the morning. Some observations, however. Took the pushchair, and the baby is walking, which is super cool, but is at that stage where reasonably comfortably walking, but also falls down. So, you know, took the pushchair. My word, that place was not built for a pushchair. So there's that aspect, made for difficult terrain negotiation with a pushchair. Something else, and this is the weirdest part of it. Where it's situated, I have been aware of its existence for a long time, and I've never been, because ultimately, if somebody says to you, let's go to a farming museum, it's like, I'm probably good, thanks. But a bit more research, a bit more looking into it, it's like, actually, it sounds quite good. Coming on a slip road home, I was under the impression that you could see it, because there was, you know, if you look down into a field off to the left, there's all this farming equipment just lined up, and I was like, oh, that must be the Museum of Farming, and that must be various different farming equipment that's been through the years, through the ages. In actual fact, that's not true. So it just raised all these questions. It's like, so that thing that you can see from the slip road isn't the Museum of Farming, yet has all of this farming equipment in a field that's clearly like farming equipment through the ages. What the hell is going on there? The thing was, we could see that field from part of the farming museum, so it just became even more of a weird thing. It's like, well, it's not like it's closed, it's not like we've missed a bit, it's a fair way off from here, so it's not part of this. So what is that? It's now this like weird mystery thing. All in all, reasonable day out, enjoyable. Glad we went, glad we did it. The ticket is available for 365 days from purchase, so definitely going to be going back. So, you know, there's that. I'm really into these places that offer the year tickets. I just think it's a really good business model. I really do. So big thumbs up on that one. So yeah, Pet Love Pet Hate. This week's Pet Love. It's a new thing for me. As I mentioned previously, I'm wearing some sliders right now, and I also mentioned that I took my socks off as immediately, as soon as I could, took my socks off. That's my new favourite thing, not wearing socks. Really into it, and I've never been into it. Like, you know, I remember living in a house that had a concrete floor in the kitchen and bathroom. That was fun in the winter, I'll tell you. But it's like going from the bedroom to the bathroom but in your dressing gown, because you were off to get in the shower to get ready to go to work, probably wasn't going to put anything other than the dressing gown on. So, you know, no socks, no shoes sort of thing. But I'm more of a slippers kind of man. I'm a slipper man. And, you know, often that involves wearing socks. But with the addition of the slider, socks is not a thing. And I've been really getting into not wearing socks. I've actually been going out of my way to not wear socks. It's it's enjoyable. So that's this week's pet love. This week's pet hate is something that I've touched on previously, and that is paying for something that's not good. It's one of those times, you know, you often go in these ups and downs, peaks and troughs, strikes and gutters. You often have up and down times, money wise. So there are times when, you know, you have to pay out for a lot more. There are times you have to pay out for less, you know. We all enjoy those months where you don't have to pay for council tax. But then there's like, you know, you hit September and you're basically saving up for the C word. And I don't mean the C nut. Just seems at the moment that it's in one of the sort of the troughs money wise. Doesn't seem to be an abundance of money in the house. A lot of trying to cut corners. Cut corners sounds bad. Tighten the shoestring, tighten the belt. That might sound better. It's just more outgoing than incoming. I've said for many years there's an optimal number of children to have financially, and that is not the number of children I have. So yeah, money is a little tight currently. And I say currently because I believe that some magical fairy is going to appear one day and go, here's some money, whilst knowing that nobody's situation in the house is going to change. So yeah, because of that, money that's spent has to be spent sparingly, I guess. And the other thing would be money that's spent, especially money that's a treat, has to be spent in a particular way. You know, you really have to think about it. You can't be frivolous, so on and so forth. It's, you know, as you'd expect. The other day, I had received bad news, which subsequently caused issues in the house. I decided to resolve this by leaving the house. Me and the baby went to Monk's Cross. Went to pick up an order from Next. I mean, it doesn't hurt that Next is connected to a Nero's. So I was like, I was in a foul mood, not had the best of days at that point in time, and was like, fuck it, we're getting a coffee. Treat myself. Ultimately it's that, when you have to decide whether you can afford to spend £3, £3.50, whatever the hell it is. So fuck it, I'm getting a coffee. Went in, wore the mask, stood in the queue, waited my turn, all of that. Right, can I have my usual coffee order? Because I thought about getting a cold one, but I'm often like, if I'm stood in a Nero's, because it's so infrequent now, I'm like, I kind of have to get a coffee. So I got my coffee, got the baby a baby chino, let her drink a baby chino, and what that actually means is pour the entire contents of a baby chino down the front of her, whilst making it look like she's drinking it. Yeah. So she drank her baby chino by chucking it down her. I'm like, right, here we go. I've been waiting for this. This guy, come on, come to me, you beauty, come here. Had a sip. I'm like, that's not the best. It's not the best cup of coffee I've ever had, by a long way. And it's like, oh, piss off. Just that situation, that scenario, that we've had to really make the decision to actually pay the money for something that you know it's a treat, and then it's not great, and you're like, oh, just piss off. That was the situation. So this week's pet hate is paying for something that is not very good. Only a couple of pieces of entertainment this week. Like I say, I was like, oh, I haven't watched the movie, but in actual fact, I've watched Wall-E. Started watching Big Hero 6, and before Wall-E, me and the baby watched Cars. My eldest wants to watch Incredible. Oh, we all watched The Incredibles a little while ago. I reviewed it though, didn't I? Yeah. My eldest wants to watch Incredibles 2, which I believe is going to happen at some point this week. When, I do not know. Haven't watched anything outside of a load of Disney. But I did watch some stand-up comedy. I remember doing a review of, I watched a load of Jim Jeffries stand-ups, like back to back, and I just reviewed him as a comedian really, rather than like individual ones. I've watched his latest one, which is called Intolerant. It is on Netflix. At the time of reviewing the Jim Jeffries thing, I said that I didn't know an awful lot about it, but what I was aware of, that there was some sort of controversy around him as a person. Meant to look it up and never did, so I will refer back to, don't ever quote me on this, but I believe there was something about him doing some kind of talk show interview type thing, and editing, the show is edited in such a way to paint people in a bad light, I believe. Don't quote me. However, as a stand-up comedian, I find him to be quite enjoyable. Not a favourite, but not... I find it enjoyable. This one in particular I found to be quite enjoyable because it was very cleverly done. It was basically him telling one story from the start to the end. That was it, one story. But every part of the story led to him going off and telling you something else. And he'd tell you something else for like 5 or 10 minutes, and then would just bring it back to the main story instantaneously. It was very cleverly done. I found it very enjoyable for that reason. The other reason was it was a subject matter that I know well. I'm not going to reveal what that is. I would encourage you to watch it if it's your kind of comedy. I would just say what he was talking about I know well. A lot of it I know well. Really enjoyed it. I really did enjoy it. You know, when you watch stand-up comedy on your own, I don't often laugh when I'm watching on my own. I know it's really good if I actually do laugh out loud. And it was one of those that I didn't laugh, but I did smile. So I presume if I'd have watched it with somebody else, I'd have probably been laughing quite a lot. Really enjoyable. I really encourage it if anybody is into that sort of comedy. him as a person or any of that, to absolutely check that out. That's Jim Jeffries Intolerant. Also, there was a clever wordplay thing, clever use of words quite early on that I thought was very good. As far as computer games are concerned, we are very much into the... It's just Ghost of Tsushima. That's all I'm playing. Can't even tell you I've played any VR. That's not true. I have, but the only thing I've played is Sekiro. Is that it? I feel like it's not called that. The Cyber Ninja game, let's call it that, on the VR. I haven't played anything else other than the boxing, and the boxing's been doom-made in because I believe that the other person cheats. Ghost of Tsushima. I am getting to the back end of the second area, second of 3. It's feeling a little like... In some ways it's starting to feel a little bit like it did when I was playing Days Gone. You really want people to put a lot into games, a lot of time, a lot of effort and a lot of content. I know that I heard an early review of the game saying that it was... the person that was playing it was into 50 plus hours. And I'm like, I can easily see that that's a thing. I would have considered I've probably put 50 something hours into it already. As a game, it is very much in the realms of I'm doing absolutely everything, or at least trying to. I try and do all available side missions, all collectibles, everything before doing any main missions. That is the way I am operating currently. Something that I had a conversation with Luke the other day, and I was saying that I find absolutely infuriating is this thing where you click on the map, you say, I want to go to this undiscovered location, and it could be quite a way away, and you travel and you travel and you travel, and you have fights on the way, and you discover things on the way, and you pick stuff up on the way, and you do a variety of things on the way, and then you get there and it's a fucking fox den. I find the fox dens to be the lowest down the totem pole of actually useful. Especially this far into the game, all it says is that I'm powering up charms. I don't even know what that means. That's how pointless an exercise fox dens are. A review I'd heard about this game said that after you played it for so long it does become a little bit repetitive, but their response to that was, which game doesn't? I agree on both counts. At this point in time there is a little bit of repetitive nature, but then name a game that doesn't have that. It's super fun, it's super enjoyable, story's really good, the character interaction's really good, but I've been playing it a while now. I don't want it to end, I'm not like, oh, I wish there's an end. It's kind of, I'm kind of saying everything I'm saying is kind of contradicting everything else I'm saying. Super enjoyable, lots of fun, have been playing it for a while. Don't want it to end because I'm enjoying playing it. I feel like the game front loads the upgrades. I am bordering on having absolutely everything upgraded, and by that I mean the like stuff you get XP for, like those kind of upgrades, rather than like armor and stuff, because I just haven't bothered upgrading a lot of the costumes. I just don't see the point to it. It's like, oh, am I going to upgrade the thing that helps you be a better archer, when I don't feel that that's a necessary thing, because I can fire a bow and arrow in the game. There are a couple that I do consider that I might upgrade further into it. I got a thing last night, it's like, oh, this mystical armour and this demon armour and all this, that and the other. And I'm like, it's not armour, it's a top and trousers. Where's the armour involved? And then when you got it, it was like, oh, it does this thing that's pretty lame and it does that thing that's pretty lame. It's like, cool, I now have to spend 10 minutes going back to my previous armour and putting the right hat on. Things like that. I don't like in games where they give you stuff that's not as good as what you already have. Once I unlocked all of the spaces to put charms in, I've not changed the charms that I've put in them. I think I've got in the region of 100. So, you know, it's that. Why give me something that is of no use to the game? It's like some upgrades that you get. It's like, cool, that sounds like something I'm never going to use. Like a lot of my reviews, this is sounding super negative. I really enjoy it. It's really fun. So many good aspects to it. But with a game that you do play for a long time, it just compounds the amount of time that you have to see the cracks, I guess. Like I say, I think I'm getting to the end of the second section now. I thought that 3 times with the first section. I had to go back to the first section 3 times to quote unquote finish it. Like at various points it just unlocks more stuff. Even when you've left that area, it's still unlocking things. I imagine that's going to happen with the second area, because I am now down to literally main missions. Presume that will unlock the third area, and I presume the third area will be very similar, so I will continue with that. There's a part of me that would kind of like to eke this out until the beginning of September, because Tony Hawk's 1-2 remaster comes out and the Avengers game, but there's an Avengers beta I believe next weekend, so I'll probably download that and play that for the weekend. I think the reason that I kind of like to drag this out is because I just don't really feel like playing anything else. I'm sure ultimately I would find something to play. I might replay The Last of Us Part 2 from where I left it last time, sort of thing. Me and games are not on good terms. Me and the games industry and the games market are not on good terms, and it's making me bitter, I think. So there, that is largely that. I'm not going to tell you about working out and stuff. I am working out. I do wonder why, because I just don't feel like I'm seeing any results at all. So I don't know what I keep doing it, but more recently I have started wondering why, because I don't really see any results. I know ultimately that is purely down to everything outside of the working out, but it's kind of one of those, kind of is the way it is at the moment. So that's that. So there we go. That's it for this one. I'll let you guys go. Go and enjoy the rest of your evening or morning or whatever it is, whatever time of day you're listening to this. Cheers for joining me, and I'll speak to you later. So there you go. What do you think to that? Another one done, and another week gone. Poof, where does it go? I tell you. YouTube watchers, do make sure you're subscribing. It's a big help to us. It's a little click of a button to you. So, you know, small amount of work in it. Everybody jump over to thecookiecast.com. Check us out over there. There's social media links, and there's also an email button where you can email us, tell us your deepest, darkest thoughts, and then we'll read them out on the internet. Wait, no, that's not it, is it? Something like that. Anyway, send us an email. That's it for this one. Until next time, I'll say bye, and I'll see you then. Bye-bye.